All right, we are at it again here on the homestead, folks. So, of course, working on a homestead means that you have to do a lot of your own work yourself as a mechanic, wearer of many hats, jack of many trades, master of, well, maybe none. So we just got through completing our trip to North Carolina and got back again. We'll show you some video of that at some point, not in this video clip, but at some point we'll have some video shots from that. But we are servicing the vehicle that we took. So those of you who aren't familiar, this is a 2001 Ford F250 SuperDuty, his truck. And we just got through doing a 2,000 mile turn and burn almost. Wasn't quite, as you know, we were out there for a few days. Although I don't think we got much rest, at least not enough to really rest up from it. But whenever we got back, we started the process of just kind of doing the post major trip overhaul. We did do some pre-trip cleanup and things. We'll show you some of that as well. But we wanted to change the oil, change the fuel filter, and just basically make sure that everything is good from that type of a trip. It's a good idea if you go on a major trip just to go ahead and take care of the vehicle before you go, and then also don't forget to check on it after you return, especially if it's one that large. And we also were towing a vehicle too. So those are all some considerations. So what we're doing today is we are changing out the fuel filter. Again, Ford F250, this is a SuperDuty. What we need to be able to make this happen are a few tools. We're going to need our fuel filter, and we'll need something to loosen up the cap on the fuel filter housing. There is a drain tube that runs down, supposedly on the side of the engine out to the passenger side, from what I have been told. We're going to find it and try to drain the diesel fuel into it, and also relieve pressure. The cover for the housing is right here. There's power stroke on it, and the housing, of course, contains the fuel filter. So, turns out you need a deep well. We did try using regulars. No one mentioned needing a deep well for these. I gotta be honest, one of the sockets I had I thought were deep enough, but they're not. So, anyways, found a deep well, and guess what? It works just fine now. So, step number one, remove the cover. Oh, a little dirty under here. Whenever you start working on your truck, it's a good idea. Go ahead and clean stuff as you go. Now, just to be clear, we did go through and pressure wash the accessible parts of the engine before we went on this trip. What you don't want to do is have all this dirt fall into an area of the engine that shouldn't have dirt, but include filtered zones. So your diesel fuel, for example, your oil. So you want to try to keep all that clean if you can. Aware that this cap comes loose, that would expose dirt to fall into this housing. I want to get clean. Okay, so there is a lever right back here, and you just rotate it to the side, and now it's relieving the pressure out of it. If you don't have access to be able to work underneath your the truck to gain access to where the drain tube is, just put your old oil catch pan, something along those lines, that you will be able to capture the diesel fuel. That's all you got to do. In this case, we just did this and then put something right there to capture it, and we're good to go. So once you have drained the diesel fuel and you are no longer hearing diesel drain from the bottom of it, you can go ahead and actually remove the cap. Now, to do that, they make a special tool that goes in here, and the tool essentially just has some teeth on the sides of it and a socket, basically a socket head. You can take your socket wrench, attach it to it, and then just turn this thing. I don't have access to that tool. I'm not going to go buy one to change a filter that we would only change maybe every couple of years anyways. So what I did is I found out that my lineman's pliers are a perfect fit to go inside of the little grooves here. And all I do is just put them in here and then give them a little bit of a turn, counterclockwise, like that. And that's it. So pretty simple. And when it comes time to tighten them, I'll do the exact same thing. Now we're going to slowly remove our cap, make sure that there's no contaminants. I'm going to get back into there, and there we go. Cap is off. So we're good to go on that part now. Now, once we've done that, we can remove our filter. That's right here. I'm just going to pick it straight up. Bucket I'm just going to put this into for right now. And there we go. Thanks, sir. Now, there is a oil, or excuse me, not oil, but a fuel seal that goes on here. And we're not going to reuse this. Maybe if you were in a pinch, you might have to, but I would recommend not doing so. But this one does look fine. There's no real issues with it. No abrasions, bubbles, or cracks of any sort. So it could technically be reused, but I would recommend against it unless you are in a position where you have no choice. Inside of your kit, when you receive your new filter from whoever you're buying it from, you're going to have the filter itself as well as 2 O-rings. You can compare the O-ring that you have versus the new one, and they should match up pretty close on here. This one's a little bit different, but it's still the same O-ring, and all it does is just rest on here on the inside like that. That's all we do. Now, before we do that, I'm going to take some diesel fuel, and I have plenty on my hands already, and just coat this filter, or this coat this O-ring with diesel fuel. There's a little bit in here, so I can do that and just give it a good little coating, and that'll help to protect the O-ring. So this is an interesting thing here. So the cap is different. This is the original, and this is the one it came with, and it looks like this does not disassemble from it. However, in the future, whenever it comes time to replace this again, it should just be a matter of just finding the right size socket and putting it on here maybe and twisting that sucker off, and we'll be good to go. Now, with that in mind, we do need to put our new O-ring onto our filter. So I'm gonna get some more diesel. Now we're just going to put the O-ring on the filter like that. There we go. All good to go. So new filter, new seals, or new O-rings rather, and we're basically set. So now we have our filter. Should just be a matter of reinstalling it and then twisting this back in place. Be careful to avoid cross-threading. That is something that can be easily done, especially on something like this, and if you did, it would of course ruin it. So now we have closed the relief valve on the back of this. And all we do is just rotate it counterclockwise. Be careful not to crack this. This piece of plastic here looks like it will give you a lot of leverage, but it could easily snap off. So be very careful with that if you're changing this. I will get a socket to tighten that down, and then we'll be done. We did some testing, and I tried a few different larger sockets that I had. Had a 30, way too big. Had a 27, it was almost the right size. I'm guessing 26 or 25, somewhere in that range maybe. Did not have one that size. I did have a good old faithful adjustable wrench, and we're just going to use that instead. There we go, that's it. That's all it took. You gotta go super tight with this. If you're having to go super tight, then something's wrong somewhere. It is tight, and that's, I don't know exactly how many foot-pounds of torque that is, but I would imagine that it's going to hold just fine. It's plastic, so you can't go incredibly tight with it because it would end up obviously breaking it. And it is different. This was the original, and we could not, an interesting feature about this particular fuel filter is that we could not have chosen to have taken the fuel filter component out of that housing, out of that cap rather, and then installed it into this cap. It would not have worked. It was essentially made as part of the piece. Maybe if we applied a lot of force, it could have. Keep that in mind. Now, what we are going to do, we're going to put this aside in case we ever need it again in the future.
In case the next filter comes without a cap.
Exactly, because we don't know what could end up happening. If we end up getting the next fuel filter and this cap is not included,
we got one.
Then we have one at that point. So in this case, we're good. There's no problem. but we want to be sure that we're protected for next time. So sir, put that into a safe spot. Now we have gone through, we have taken out the old fuel filter, we have put in our new seal, we put a little bit of diesel fuel around it just to help to ensure that the seal would seal well. We did it on the O-ring at the bottom and also on the seal O-ring at the top, the gasket. So we're good to go on that at this point. Before I reinstall our cover, I want to let him start the truck, let it run for just a little bit, just to make sure that there are no leaks. So if you will go ahead, turn the ignition key on to prime the fuel pump. So now we've gone through and reinstalled the fuel filter, and we've let it run. I am just going to go along the edge here with my finger just to make sure that there are no leaks of any sort. I am not feeling any. There are none that I can detect with my eyes. Everything looks good at this point. I'm also going to check under, make sure that whenever I closed off that relief valve, start the truck for me again. We have checked under the vehicle to make sure there's no leaks, which means that the valve, whenever I close the depressurization valve, that it closed properly and I'm not leaking any fuel. I have checked around the top of the fuel filter cap. Everything looks good, no issues around there, so we're basically good to go. So just keep in mind, if you do this on yours, you could encounter either one of these two fuel filter caps. The one that takes a socket or a wrench, or the one that takes that spanner attachment. It's kind of like the two teeth on there. Either one of those two could potentially be the one that you're faced with. You may want to remove this ahead of time, so that way whenever you go to wherever you're getting the fuel filter from, that you already know which kind of fuel filter that you're going to need in order to make this job complete. So now we're basically good except for reinstalling our cover. And we can do that just by finding the little studs for this, pressing them down, and all we need are the stud caps, little bolts or screws, nuts, whatever. And honestly, you should be fine with just getting these things hand tight. You do not need to put a socket wrench on these.
And bust them out.
You're right, because these are not meant to really hold any real pressure anyway. All they do is hold this piece of cover on. That's all they do. Now, overall, the truck did pretty good on the ride out to North Carolina from Arkansas. We didn't have really any issues with it, which is actually good. It's, got over 200,000 miles on it, so anytime that you're driving a vehicle with over 200,000 miles, of course, you are obviously a little bit concerned. But this engine that they put in here originally is one that a lot of people covet. A lot of people want, and for good reason. It's been a pretty good engine so far. Take good care of it, and it'll take good care of you. So that completes this video for today. We have managed to change the oil today, and we've changed the fuel filter. We have one more project that we're going to do. It'll be a separate video though. So if you like our content, if you like the video, do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to catch you next time. For right now, this is Homesteading Outlaws signing out. We'll see you again.